Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Today our group will presenting about the plot of Prose. Member our group is consists of me, Winaya dan Khofia, and Salma Zahrotul, and Puspita Afra Wibawa. Okay, next. First, definition of plot will be read by Salma.
Okay, thank you, Nida. Definition of plot. Plot is the storyline of a text. An author puts together a series of events to create a story. However, there is more to this device than combining a sequence of events. Plots must present an event, action, or turning point that creates conflict or raises a dramatic question, leading to subsequent events that are connected to each other as a means of answering the dramatic question and conflict. There of a story's plot features a casual relationship between a beginning, middle, and end in which the conflict is built to a climax and results in conclusion. The next is about common example of plot types. In general, the plot of literary work is determined by the kind of story the writer intends to tell. Some elements that influence the plot are genre, settings, character, dramatic situation, theme, etc. There are 7 basic common examples of plot types. The first is tragedy. In tragic story, the protagonist typically experience suffering and a downfall. The plot, the tragedy, almost always includes a reversal of fortune from good to bad or happy to sad. And the next is comedy. In a comedy story, the ending is generally not tragic. Two characters in comic plots may be flawed, their outcomes are not usually painful or destructive. Journey of the hero. The plot of a hero's journey features 2 elements, their recognition and situation reversal. Typically, something happens for the outside to inspire the hero, bringing about recognition and realization. The next is rebirth. This plot type generally features a character's transformation from bad to good. Typically, the protagonist carries their tragedy past with them, which result in negative view of life and poor behavior. Next is rags to riches. In this common plot type, the protagonist begins in impoverished, downtrodden, or struggling state. Then story events take place, magical or realistic, that lead to the protagonist's success and usually a happy ending. Next is good versus evil. This plot type features a generally good protagonist that fights a typically evil or antagonist. However, both the protagonist and antagonist can be groups of the characters rather than simply individuals, and then all with the same goal or mission. The last is voyage or return. In this plot type, the main character goes from point A to point B and back to point A. In general, the protagonist sets off on a journey and returns to the start of their voyage. And then next is Aristotle's plot structure formula. So this principle may seem obvious to modern readers in his work Poetics. Aristotle first developed the formula for plot structure as 3 parts. They are beginning, middle, and end. Each of these parts is purposeful, integral, and challenging for writers. It can be difficult for writers to create an effective plot device in terms of making decisions about how a story begins, what happened in the middle, and how it ends. This is explanation of Aristotle's plot structure. The first is beginning. The beginning of a story holds great value It has to capture the reader attention, introduce the characters and setting and the central conflict. The second is middle. The middle of a plot requires movement toward the conclusion of the story, as well as plot points, obstacle, or various subplots. The last is end. The end of the story brings about the conclusion and resolution of the conflict, generally leaving the reader with a sense of satisfaction, value, and deeper understanding.
Okay, next will be read by Afra.
Okay, thank you. Freetext Pyramid. In 1863, Gustav Freetext, a German novelist, published a book that expanded Aristotle's concept of plot. Freetext had two components: this is a rising action and falling action. This dramatic arc of plot structure, termed Freetext Pyramid, is the most prevalent depictions of as a literary device. The element of Freetext Pyramid is the first, second exploitation, and the second rising action, and third climax, and the next failing action and resolution. Next. Basic patterns of plot. The basic patterns of plot by William Forster Harris present three types of plot. The first is happy ending plot. This plot ends on a happy note when the central characters make a sacrifice of resolve the conflict. The second, unhappy ending. In this type of plot, the central characters acts logically that seem right and fails to completely resolve the conflict. And the third, tragedy. This type of plot poses question by the end about the sadness. Plot narrative. In a literary work, film, or other narrative, the plot is the sequence of events where each affects the next one through the principle of cause and effect. The causal event of a plot can be thought of as a series of events linked by the concertor and so.
Okay, the definition of plot narrative. Early 20th century English novel E.M. Forster described plots as the cause and effect relationship between events in the story. Teresa Yamada of SCULB agreed that a plot does not include memorable scenes with a story which does not relate directly to other events, but only major events that move the action in a narrative. Plot device. Plot device is means of advancing in the plot in the story. It is often used to motivate character, with urgency, or to solve a difficulty. This can be contrasted with moving a story forward with dramatic technique, that is, by making things happen because characters take action for well-developed reason. In contrast, an adversarial character who has been struggling with himself save the day to chase things of heart will be considered dramatic technique. And the example of the plot device will be when the cavalry show up at the last moment and save the day in the battle. Next. Plot outline. A plot outline is a prose telling of a story which can be turned into a screenplay. Sometimes it's called one page because of its length. And in comic, the work refers to a stage in development where the story has been broken down very closely in a style similar to in film. In Japanese manga, the stage is called nemu, like the English word, which is name. This stage is also referred to as storyboarding or layout. The main goals of work are two. 1. Lay out the flow of plan across a page. 2. Ensure the story successfully builds suspense. 3. Work out point of view, camera angle, and character position with panel. In fiction reading, a plot outline gives a list of scene. The plot outline is a raw sketch of this cause and effect made by scene to lay out a solid background and structure to show why and how things happen as stated. The next is our reference that we got from the internet. Yeah. Maybe it is all for our group. Thanks for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.